what are testing methodologies, how can we test, for example, weapon strength. In this specific video, we're gonna check out what the Cursed Medusa weapon level 4 is going to bring. Now, the situation is that if you go to your units here, I'm getting used to the site, there it is, Cursed Medusa. You go to exclusive and rank up. And here you can see I haven't ranked up, I have permission to rank it up. In this video it's gonna happen. But first let's read what's going on. Cursed Medusa masters the brand new skills Shadow Frost Serpent and Cursed Heart of Stone. And these are the two skills. The first skill. The 3 Shadow Frost Serpents beneath Cursed Medusa's feet feed on the enemy's soul to survive. Each time Cursed Medusa attacks or casts a skill, cooldown is 2 seconds. So Cursed Medusa attacks, casts a skill. Absorbs 1 stack of soul. Upon collecting 3 stacks of soul, Shadow Frost Serpent will consume all soul stacks to resurrect. So it's resurrect. What does resurrect mean? Good question, we don't know. It will then cast Fatal Poisoned Breath at enemies ahead, dealing 3 instances of penetration damage equal to 100% of attack, which is a high number in case of Divine Heralds, if you didn't know, that ignores 10% of their immunity, survival attributes and logged HP. Also inflicts Toxic Marrow for 10 seconds. Subsequently, it expands its vitality to restore protection equal to 50% of Cursed Medusa's HP. This is one of the strongest weapons, by the way, and level 4 is really significant. When Cursed Medusa dies, which didn't happen in the example, Shadow Frost Serpent will also disappear. While Cursed Medusa is alive, Shadow Frost Serpent can continuously be awakened by collecting souls. That was one of them. Do you understand what is going on? Because I don't. It's really hard to code in terms of algorithms. You know, that's the difficulty. That's what Hate kept on telling, wall of text approach is difficult. Now, let's see the second one. 2 effects. For effect 1, whenever Cursed Medusa petrifies enemies, Magic Eye of Calamity will also inflict 1 stack of Frost Incantation, decreasing the target's survival attributes by 50% for 10 seconds. If Cursed Medusa Superior petrifies enemies, Magic Eye of Calamity will additionally inflict 1 bonus stack of Frost Incantation. Also inflicts Frostbound, decreasing their final HP amplification by 20%. That's the effect 2. Whenever Petrify or Superior Petrify is dispelled or upon gaining immunity to the effects, Magic Eye of Calamity will cause Cursed Heart of Stone to befall, which is a new control effect, unable to become immune to it, sealing the meridians in the target's heart, preventing them from attacking, moving, and casting skills for 5 seconds. When Magic Eye of Calamity attacks targets affected by this Cursed Heart of Stone, increases damage by 100%. So I understand more damage, petrification, befall, cannot be dispelled. This is a new thing. This is just text. And it's difficult to relate to it. I also see that there are some stacking, because when you attack every second, but cooldown is 2 seconds, you essentially get a new stack every 2 seconds. That's why a battle log would be so amazing. It's so difficult to relate to this. But anyway, more or less we will get an idea of what is going on. And I will basically do some battles with someone I know has this cursed stack of whatever. Let's see, send all. Where is the player? Where is the player? It's so difficult to find. Somewhere at the bottom, most likely. Yeah, there you go. To the very bottom. Okay, let's see. So, I know for a fact that he has like this Cursed Medusa level 4. We're gonna duel. And now I'm gonna make some changes. Okay, so I'm gonna use... First of all, I will not be in an attack position, and I will use a fully death team. This is the baseline. The fully death team is gonna imply that I will need someone else here. These are Divine Heralds, so I don't need a third defender. I will just use this death team, including the death commander who is here, with inlaid units, everything else. Power-wise, this is a strictly more powerful account. So I'm gonna use Sinka here, and I'm gonna use... There you go. Now, let's get going and let's see how this happens in practice. So far nothing special. Look at the Cursed Medusa opponent, they are here. And look at my Cursed Medusa, they are facing each other. If you heard the reading, there is some healing going on. Healing / revival, which is quite significant. And you see that in this case, the account I'm demoing has the upper hand for a while. But the Cursed Medusa just refuses to yield, just refuses to die. And look at this. Cursed Medusa is about to die but got the power back. And now we're attacking again, but got the power back again. And according to my experience, that I've demoed before, or not demoed, but checked out before, if we're unlucky, this can go on until the very end of the battle, and the only unit that the opponent has alive is the Cursed Medusa. You can see how to beat this opponent. Well, now I managed it, like 42 seconds left. But before, it was a different story. No, we don't need anything. Before, it was a different story. Now, evidently, you can do an other option. The second option is if you bring a different hero to increase damage output. And this unit, even though 5-starred, so when consulting, this was one thing that I suggested, even if 5-starred, this will work better. And given that this new unit is only 3-starred, well, it will take a while until it takes effect. But wouldn't be the end of the world. Another option that I'm recommending is moving this unit to the front so that we damage a bit faster. Remember, it needs to walk all the way there to deal damage. This is not a charging unit, this is a simple damage dealer. If you want charging position, it works too. This way or this way, doesn't really matter. But I'm recommending no charging position at the moment for the sake of the experiment. And the reason is, like, for this experiment is that you need basically security that when the opponent attacks, you have the upper hand. And let's see. So this means that we're overwhelming the opponent with damage, both in terms of spell and in terms of attackers' regular unit damage. And this is the second recommendation. And then the Cursed Medusa just has no chance. First of all, we kill all the opponents, all the other ones. And the 2 Divine Heroes that can have weapons are quite resistant. And it takes a while. But you see that it's basically a lot faster. Simply because we increase damage, basically. Different units, more damage dealing, more attackers. This is the reason why the triple defender strategy, so this thing in here, is not ideal. Because you have like 3 defenders right now. You would need 2 defenders, I guess. And if you have more attackers, some of the attackers can go to the back row. So you can squeeze it in, and the 3 defender strategy is barely ever optimal. Now, another thing that could be optimal if I lost more units is if I move the backup formation to the top, but backup formation is not meant to change much. Anyway, let's now make some changes. I'll do one more thing before making changes. So I will remove all the Divine Heralds. Including this one. Including the God Dragon. And I'll just keep a few units here. On this row, so that we block the charging unit. Well, actually we don't even need to block the charging unit. Doesn't even matter. Let's just keep it like this. This is a champion, by the way, Grim Rider. This is my 3rd experiment. And I wanted the different hero, Sinka, not this hero. And all this information is rewindable, and you can see this later as well. So as expected, everyone died. And now the Cursed Medusa is gonna die too. Okay, backup formation is there. Doesn't make a difference. There you go. And the final fight. 4th and final fight. Which is interesting and important data as well. Same one, just with Sinka. And I'm defending the Cursed Medusa so that she can get the stacks up, while the other defender takes the hit. That's the objective. And you see that Sinka is basically weaker in this situation, so we're gonna die faster. Or do we? Anyway, less than 1 minute so far. Actually, because of synergy, we're getting buffed a bit more. Anyway, so these are the battles. Now that we have enough information, let's go to the Cursed Medusa and let's activate the weapon. Rank up, it's already placed in here. And done. So this is the big 4-star weapon. And now we're going back and we're gonna do the same fights. Now it got reordered, amazing. So, Duel. And I'm not touching anything. Let's see how long we last. Unfortunately, I cannot bring a defender to the back row. That would be funny, actually. Why would we have a defender in the back row? But let's see, Cursed Medusa. How is the Cursed Medusa doing? Now we have the same weapon. Unfortunately, we don't see the health bar. But hopefully she got enough stacks of extra whatever they are called. Now we can see the health bar. Against all these attackers, look at this, already 15 seconds extra. And I got overwhelmed, but you see that we almost got 20% extra survival. Which is something. Come on, next. Okay. Duel. Now the change that I'm gonna make is the hero. And remember, you always change one thing at a time. I'll keep these 3 units only. I still have an attacker. It's all fine. I should have saved the formation itself to reproduce it, but it's gonna be the same units. So the eye dies in about 18 seconds, and now it's all for the Medusa only. Backup formation is coming and going, not a big deal. And due to lack of synergy with the hero, the Medusa alone is not a deal breaker. Now let's bring the remaining units and let's see what the weapon brings in itself, like 3 stars versus 4 star. So I have this unit here and the Divine Heralds. Well, those Divine Heralds that belong here. By the way, this ordering is counterintuitive because it's not based on strength, it's based on recency. Just as if people implied you always have to get the new tech, right? This is difficult when you have different unions, because then how do you order them properly? Anyway, where is the unit? Here is the unit. And I'm not gonna do charging here. So I could use this as an attacker for the back row, but no, Dracolich I don't mind. And I'll place this unit that is actually one of the strongest units. Just this one here. I could bring the Lamassu inside here as a backup unit, but I won't. And the reason is twofold. First of all, it's a defender. Well, not a problem. Second, more importantly, I didn't have Lamassu in the backup formation during the previous tests. So let's see, this is now Khalid. So this is basically all about overwhelming the opposition. So you saw that with Sinka we got about 20 seconds extra survival. Now here we're gonna win either way because we're overwhelming the opponent's Cursed Medusa. And the weapon is starting to shine as well, a bit. And now we just have the 2 opponents just like before. Backup formation is dying. And there you go, Cursed Medusa is done. 42 seconds. Looks promising, doesn't it? Now let's swap the hero. So looks like the weapon is a drastic improvement. You saw just with that stupid like 3-person team got 20 seconds extra. Here we got enough defense and enough weapon damage to overwhelm the rest of the team of the opponent that died faster, and the Cursed Medusa just couldn't regenerate quickly enough to make a difference. Now we have the final battle. And it doesn't look pretty for the opponent at all. Bear in mind, Sinka is synergic with the team. It takes a while. We have trouble with eliminating just the Medusa. So it looks like we have the same problem, but we managed to overwhelm the opponent's system a bit faster. And by the way, you can also see the stats. You do actual damage normally, and the Cursed Medusa became the 2nd best damage dealer out of all. And for some reason, the Corrupted Fin just lasted for 13 seconds, so it was not the best addition to the team. Maybe even a 3rd defense in this specific case could make sense, because they survive at least, and overall they even make more damage, deal more damage. But I have other ideas as well on how to improve this team. It looks like that Corrupted Fiend just dies straight away. It's a bad positioning as well, by the way. But damage is crazy. Unfortunately, I didn't show you the damage before, so that should have been something that I do, but I didn't. And that's a mistake on my end. I cannot undo it anymore. Now, how can we make sure that this specific unit survives? Now, we have a problem. The problem is that this 3 defense formation, even though it's counterintuitive and it's suboptimal, having the charging unit in the middle forces us to have a defense row here. Especially if it's a Divine Herald with a weapon. Now, it's desirable to block the top row because of the reason that we can then afford charging, otherwise we cannot. So there are 2 options. One is that we put the stronger unit here and then we just place the remaining units down here. And we let go of charging, but then we lose a few seconds of damage dealing. It happens, it can help, it's fine. The other option is that we place this unit here and then the attacker is gonna be here on the top. Either way, survival is gonna be higher. Let's try with this option. Even formation matters in terms of the survival of the Corrupted Fiend. Unfortunately, it's only a 5-star unit at the moment. And 5-stars are not pretty in a sense that it's just a relatively new Divine Herald that is not mainstream yet in terms of tech, because it's better than the previous Divine Heralds, but the previous Divine Heralds already got their weapons. Plus the domains. And this one cannot even have a domain at 5-star. Look, now the only opponent that is alive is a Cursed Medusa, and it looks like the Corrupted Fiend dies either way. And that's difficult, but I think that Commander as well dies quite easily. And you see how much we suffer with this hero, so we need to overwhelm the opponent with damage. And if it's not happening, then the fight gets prolonged and some of us may even die. And under really bad circumstances, the battle just can go on until the very end, even with fully activated weapon. That's how hazardous this game is. There you go. Game ended. 0 seconds. That's why I was indicated as death. But the survival of these units is 180 seconds. So they fully survived. So this is really weird. And let's see the Corrupted Fiend. Yeah, we got the Manticores, couldn't care less about them. Here it is, 6 seconds, even worse. So this means that that unit should have no place in the formation, because you can find another one who survives potentially longer. At this stage, even a synergic 3-star unit, let's see what happens, or the support unit, or some back row unit. So previously, the survival was 6 seconds. Here is the unit. Already outlasted the other one, simply because if you have a death team, then all the extra bonuses are on death. So a 3-star death unit with all the bonuses and extras is significantly better off than a 5-star non-death unit. And the gap is magnified greatly by the hero itself. Well, this is heavily dangerous that the opponent's unit is just alive forever and just refuses to die. Now the next thing, so we see that the weapon itself is important, but it's not necessarily the deciding factor. We improve one thing at a time. You see that the battle took 98 seconds and most of our units survived, including this 3-star unit that is actually better than the Corrupted Fiend, it seems. So actually we managed to optimize this thing, but now what we need to continue optimizing is, let's see the unit. Attack, defense and HP are all displayed. Weapon is on level 4, so I know it, I've made my research. And emblem, legal principles. So the 2 defensive emblems, I think is the same for me, the death emblem plus the restricted domain defensive emblem. So this means that before continuing the experiment, what I would recommend is going here just to see if we did our homework. Yeah. Good question. If the emblem makes a difference. Because there are some units, hint this one for example, that doesn't require a death emblem. So I'm gonna equip the commander's death emblem. And let me find the commander, here it is. Because he doesn't have a place in the formation. Even the 3-star Divine Herald should be better, although that is yet to be verified. And then I'm gonna give him... Well, this emblem doesn't make much sense for him, but at least, well, something. It's something. So let's continue the experiment. Now we're gonna test whether a fully death emblem will make any difference. And by the way, if you test properly, I don't have time for it in this video, but if you do, then you rerun the same fight like 5 times. But you saw that in some unfortunate situations when the worst units die, then we have issues with the formation. Now the main difference is that the Cursed Medusa is getting its red emblem and we're mirroring the opponent's red emblem. And it looks to me, although it's deceiving because you still have enough opponents and we could measure when the backup is coming in. Now the backup came in. But it looks to me that the choice of emblem makes a difference. And I assume that the rest of the team is also death emblemed, mainly. Now the opponent only has 1 unit left with that weapon. We also have 1 unit left. Looks quite defensive. Not much changed. Actually, we have a lot more than 1 unit left. Not much changed. And the difficulty is the following. We would need more tests to verify which emblem makes more sense. And the reason is simple. You go here and you just check. Does this make sense? Death emblem, also death, 5 death, 6 death, 7 and 8. And by the way, for the restricted, I only have 4 here available to select. So all 8 have death emblem. So this is just logically speaking an improvement, because those radiant tomes, if you read them, you need stacks up to 8 times. What does this mean? 5 seconds after emblem unit is deployed, apply 1 stack of Whisper of Death. So as soon as you deploy a unit like this, you can deploy up to 8 of these units and all of the units get 1 stack, up to 8. This is why you need the same type of emblems. And this was a mistake in the previous formation, so Marcus will have to live with. He has more than enough emblems, you see. So We'll have to live with this death emblem. And once the backup formation is deployed, for example, Fate Weaver was in the backup formation, it is fine to have the same emblem. It won't add the 9th stack or a 10th stack, but it will benefit from the 8 stacks already. So that's the idea. That's how you reason about these things. And you see that it is not just the weapon. The weapon helps, it helps quite a lot, but it doesn't drastically turn a battle from a losing battle to a winning battle, or from a winning battle to a losing battle. There are other factors in play, and those other factors are quite significant too. We need strategies to isolate one factor at a time and test. Unfortunately, the game doesn't help us much, because the only tech that we can remove, well, actually there are two. One is active artifacts, they can be removed, swapped around. And the second one is tarot. If we remove those two and test different cards, we can do that. But we cannot unequip an already equipped weapon. That's a problem. Because if we could unequip a weapon, for example in a fight, and run ourselves against ourselves with, let's say, 0-star weapon versus 4-star weapon, or run ourselves against other teams, I would be able to see exactly what is going on. Same thing with the passive artifacts. I cannot unequip a mask. That's a problem. I will want to see a mask, for example. I cannot test what it is like to have like a level 1 mask against a level 3 mask. I understand and acknowledge that if you look at the game as a business, in that case, is it more beneficial that smart and capable players figure out the different factors, isolate them, and then play better? Or is it more beneficial to just have a cloud around the mechanics, the internal mechanics of the game, and keep people guessing? Because if you guess correctly or you guess wrong, both of them can lead to can be initiated by a purchase. So guesses can initiate purchases, and this implies that the reason why we don't have a battle log, the reason why we don't have unequipable artifacts, it's not hard to implement, by the way, is obviously also relatable and understandable, because if we had all information available, then we would just crush some of the players who put in a bit less work, and those people would not be encouraged to compete. And if you look at it from this angle, then your interest as a player will start aligning with the company's interest of trying to run a profitable business. Because you as a player will also want other players to keep on playing, even though you cannot perfectly test everything. This is the price. And I think you see that even in this video I forgot to see the damage stats, the actual damage stats, before the 4-star weapon. Now I won't be able to replicate what it was like to damage it as a 3-star. Well, I can if I put in a year of work, or half a year of work. I get the Cursed Medusa to 6 stars, I get the weapon, I get everything else. And then with multiple accounts I somehow figure out the data that I want to figure out. But this is difficult. Okay, let me know in the comments what you think about this testing method.